I received a little bit of criticism for saying that I believe everybody should be tech savvy in some videos, but I really do. I think people should be. Also, it's kind of funny that YouTubers always are like, I received so much criticism for saying blah blah blah, and then it's like 3 comments. It was just like 3 comments, but I think it's an interesting topic because the people who are saying this are very adamant about it, and they are basically of the opinion that, well, people are complacent and tech is not for everyone, and you've got to consider normal people and also privileges like education and stuff like that. First of all, to just get that out of the way, I don't think education is a privilege. At least it's not in Central Europe, because it's free and accessible to everyone, and it's also very broad. So even if you're not coming from a great background, you can make it just by hard work. But I do see the privilege in like your family heritage, as in you have to take care of 3 siblings at home. Like that is a non-privilege. Like that is an anti-privilege. It's a disadvantage. Yeah, that's the word. See, the English isn't Englishing yet. Anyway, so I see it more like that. Education itself, hell nah, it's free. You just gotta put in the work, and we can talk about like how shitty the system is, and you know, university professors, they're kind of scumbags, but I don't know. So about this tech savviness issue, it always comes down to people are being tech savvy because they have to. People are learning languages because they have to. People are learning any kind of skill because they have to. Nobody is learning anything if they don't need this particular skill in their everyday life. Before they do it, they're just kind of, well, maybe eventually I'm gonna put in the work. Like my Swedish, for instance. I don't have to emigrate to Sweden right now. So for me, where I'm at now with Swedish, I study Swedish like a few times a week. I'm not making great progress. But, you know, if I were to work in some company that has business with Sweden, and people would be like, hey, you know Swedish, right? Can you do a correspondence with this team over in Stockholm? And, you know, and I'd be like, do I have to? And my boss would be like, yeah, kind of, because we don't want to pay a translator. And I'd be like, okay, you know how fast I would know to speak perfect, fluent Swedish? I would be very fast. And in general, it's my belief that humans just underestimate their intelligence by a large scale. We are often so arrogant about our emotional skills, intuition, and certain beliefs, and morale, and political stuff. Like, we're so sure about that kind of stuff. But then on the other hand, our intellectual skills, our hard skills, our scientific skills, we're kind of underselling ourselves, right? We're being like, oh, I can't do that. Like, that's really hard. But then you also have a PhD in something? Like, shut up! You don't know how to use a computer? Shut the fuck up! Of course you do! Stop lowballing yourself. And that really makes me mad sad. And I don't think it's true for most people that they can't fathom how to run a Linux and how to work out some hardware trouble to remove the battery from a device or something like that. It's basic shit. And then we come to the whole household problem. Like, I know how to fix this oven. I know how to fix that sink. I know how to fix these overhead cabinets. I know how to fix shit. Because at some point I didn't, and then I learned how to do it. You know how I learned how to do it? By trying. Most people aren't even trying, but they say I can't do it. That's the next thing that just triggers me and makes me believe that those people are just lying to themselves and me, which offends me. A little bit. Not really if it's people online, because like, yeah, sticks and stones can break my bones, but online comments can't hurt me. So, I don't know. I mean, I do know. They can't. Anyway, let's get back to how to acquire certain skills. If you don't have any tech skills, that is a non-issue, because you can acquire them for free online. It's just a matter of time. And if you are young, you have a lot of time. So if you are young, there is basically no fucking excuse to not have tech skills. It's complacency only. If you're older, okay, we can talk about, you know, it's harder to learn a language when you're older. Not that it's not still pretty good for your brain, and, you know, and dementia and everything. Okay, there are some benefits, you know. You should look into learning a language and a new skill, or playing the piano at a higher age. It's good for you, trust me. Or, like, if you don't want to trust me, bro, then trust me, your own scientific research, which is not hard to do. Just look at PubMed and Google articles. You're going to be fine, unless you can't read, which is the next skill that you should have as a human being in 2023. All right, just stop complaining and finding excuses. People are so good at finding excuses. They're better at finding excuses than they are at finding ways to make it work. Like the whole time that people spend on just communicating to others why they have such good reasons to not do this or that, if they would use that time to actually acquire the skill, they would have all the skills that they are complaining about they don't have them. Anyway, the whole sink fixing idea. Now, I believe that there are two types of people. The kind of person that says, I rather pay for something. I work, so I have money. I rather pay somebody to do this because I want to save time. And then there are people who say like, well, I don't really have the money, or I'm not willing to spend it, so I'm going to do it myself. And I'm kind of the latter. I don't see how it really saves me any time to have somebody fix something in my apartment that I can fix myself, and then at least I know what is in this socket. At least I know what's in there. I know what's going on with the wiring. At least I know what is going on with the stove. I know if it's done properly. I know how to do this. That gives me control. I'm like Lenin. I like control. Other than that, I'm not really like Lenin. And I will never quite understand how people don't see that and are selling it to themselves as some sort of independence to say, well, I don't have to do this. It's like, I don't know how to cook, but I don't have to. I can order food all the time and spend $500 on it every month. And that's my kind of freedom. No, it doesn't work like that. It is only freedom if you first experienced how to do it yourself. Then you know how to do it yourself. You know how to judge that particular skill. You know what's good and bad. And then you decide, well, I don't have to do it anymore. I'm already pretty good at it. And, I can pay somebody to make Chinese food for me. But if you don't really know anything about it, and it's also a skill that you could acquire, not an absolutely impossible, crazy skill that you can not learn how to do, like, studying physics and know shit about lasers. Maybe that is not something you can do on your own. Okay, I get it. Just sorry, that was the first example I could come up with because that's what I did. But imagine just anything very, very technical, very difficult and inaccessible and gatekept by a university education system. So something like that, you cannot just become a doctor at home, right? Understandable. You don't have to. But should you know some basic flu remedies? Sure. Is that something you should learn from your mom and dad? Sure. What, you don't have a mom and dad? Well, you're an exception. Just shut up. Don't mess around with other people and telling them the exception stuff. Exceptions are not good. They're not a good argument ever. If you're the exception, you got to be honest to yourself. You got to be like, well, I'm an exception, so I have to do exceptional stuff to make it work for me. That's the conclusion. And not, I'm an exception, everybody should cater to me, and because I'm so special and there are 5 other people like me, so everybody should cater to me. No, society is catering to the majority. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you will be happy. Because eventually you have to accept nobody is really catering to anyone. It's just all mass dynamics. Now, back to tech skills. People are so hesitant about that. People are so complacent with their lives and their little MacBooks and like, oh, it just works until it doesn't. And then you're kind of stranded. And then you depend on people who make you pay large bills for stuff that is very basic, which I am not a fan of. Again, I fix my sink, it costs me $0. It might cost me 3 hours on a weekend, but I'm not only tech savvy, I am also time savvy and funny conversation savvy. So I'm gonna make it a fun family thing to fix the fucking sink. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I want to do with my daughter on the weekend. Apart from dining and going to cafes and watching ballet shows and, I don't know, enjoying all sorts of cultural stuff and book readings and whatnot, and going to the park and climbing and hiking. Yes, I do think it's a fun thing to fix something, like, the kind of dad and daughter, dad and son kind of thing, but just I'm a mom, so mom, daughter. So that's the kind of thing I would make fun. I would make it fun to teach my daughter how to fix the sink. I would make it fun to show my daughter how to fix a computer. And I believe that if you can do that, and you can do it with other things, you can do it with tech stuff, and yourself, you can make it fun for yourself to learn that kind of stuff. The only real reason why you don't want to do it is because it's hard and you're not up for it. But just be honest about it. Like, I would love it if people would just say, well, I just hate knowing stuff that is easy to know, that is easy to acquire and helps me in my everyday life because I'm lazy. Just be honest and say that you're lazy. It's fine to be lazy, You can't be disciplined at everything. For instance, me, I'm super lazy at, I don't know, writing books. Like, I'm writing a book right now, so I'm not really into writing books anymore. I was for a long time, but now I'm not, and I'm just not making time for it. So I'm lazy at that. And I think there is something everybody wants to be lazy at, and it's okay, it's fine, you know. It's just it's not a virtue still. Like, it's not something you can brag about at a party. Like, you know, whenever I don't want to write a book, I just don't write it. You know, I'm taking my me time and just watching Netflix. Like, wow, that's so cool. You're taking care of yourself. That's good. Good for you. Nobody says that. Like, I mean, unless they're like people just lying to you because they want to suck up to you for some reason. I don't know. But in general, from the impressions that I got from users who were telling me, I don't want to learn this skill, it's just because they think it's hard, and they don't see the return on investment of the time. They don't see how it makes their life easier, and they don't want to live that lifestyle, as it comes with basically learning how to do everything. And they just don't see how that is cool, which probably is the one thing that separates them from nerds. Because at some point we found, well, it's actually cool to know that kind of stuff. That is the real empowering, and not that being fat, sitting at home in a home office and doing nothing is cool. Like, that's not empowering. Empowering is to know something that other people don't and to be good at it. That's empowering, because you can do stuff with it and go places. Doing stuff that everybody else can do, basically putting in no work, that's not empowering and it's not impressive. Anyway, truly, I think I would love a society in which it wasn't impressive anymore to have tech skills, at least basic tech skills. Because what we are talking right now, from the level of, let's say, car competence. Yeah, you have a car, you know how to remove a tire, you know, change the winter tires and stuff like that. You know how to do that, right? Tech level wise, talking about computers, most people aren't even at that level. They are at the level that they are looking at the car and they're not even sure if the tire is flat. They're like looking at the tire and saying, is there something wrong with it? It's supposed to look that way? I don't know, let's ask an expert. It's fucking low, alright? So you gotta level up to the point that you at least see, well, there's something wrong with my tire. Let's take a closer look. It's flat. Oh shit. Gotta do something about it. And then you're Googling, like, what can I do about it? And you find out, I can do this for myself. All right, I can actually save money doing this myself, fixing this. So I'm gonna fix it, and then I'm gonna be fine. Gotta trust yourself a little bit, because you know what a computer is not? A vehicle in which you can die. Surprise. It's not that dangerous, it's not that creepy, it's not like you can fuck up a lot. I mean, unless you have like naked pics on your computer and you're distributing them without knowing because you got infected with some fucking malware, which I hope you didn't, because you're not using Windows. By the time of this video, you have already installed Linux on your computer because you're listening to me, and now you're totally into tech and you think like, yeah, this woman is right. I'm gonna be a tech-savvy person because I have dignity, and I'm gonna be awesome at this and stop complaining about stuff not working because I will know how to fix it. I will do all of this, and then I'm gonna be one of the cool kids. So like the non-cool kids, but you know what I mean, right? Right. Come on, you're gonna do it. Fist bump, right? Come on, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. You can do it. You can set up a nice computer that is not a fucking MacBook. You can make it work, and then we can all have a cool ThinkPad on what is this platform that's not Zoom? I forgot that thing. Yeah, we're gonna have a hangout and share our computer stories, and you know, it's gonna be like sitting at the fire grilling marshmallows, just without the fire and the marshmallows. But you can have alcohol. Come on, you can do it. Anyway, to me, we live in a society where some people are riding bikes, but the majority of people is going by car because they can't ride a bike. And then they're telling the bike riders, oh, but riding bikes is so dangerous, you know, because of all the cars. And, you know, bike riding, it takes a little bit longer, right? I mean, you would save all the time that you otherwise, you know, you have to spend at the gym to exercise or running. But I mean, I have to get to work fast. Like I save time there, bro. Trust me. That kind of thing. All the car users, they go like, you know, like bikes are just so impractical. Bikes are for bike people. If you're a bike person, yeah, using a bike is totally fine for you. But I'm just a car person. I could never. I hope that sounds stupid to the majority of people who view the video until this point. I hope you got what I wanted to say and don't misunderstand what I am trying to say. I'm not trying to say you're stupid if you're not a Linux user and setting up your computer and you know, doing everything yourself. I'm saying you can do it, and you should know that it's not that hard. It's not rocket science, and I've done astroparticle physics, so I can tell you for sure that it's not rocket science. Also, astroparticle physics is not that hard either. That's it.